Ladies and gentlemen, dear guests, good afternoon. We are getting to the most challenging time, Friday afternoon. Honestly, it's always quite difficult. Anyway, it's my pleasure to be here. Many thanks for organizers for inviting me. And I will have, before starting or jumping into my presentation, I will have two comments. First, my introduction. I'm working for railways, let's say, have been working for the Czech Railways, Cesky Drahy, for 4.5 years. Right now, I'm responsible for the EU agenda and representing Czech Railways in Brussels. And second point, I would also like to, many thanks to organizers and sponsors for last evening, or let's say, last event we had last night, because it was amazing and it was very nice to meet people in person. And for me, because I'm very closely linked to the Brussels agenda, and always thinking and hearing about the market opening, about the competition in the market, it works, it really definitely shifts the whole sector ahead. But my feeling from yesterday was very positive, because not only meeting the people, but also having this good mood. I mean, having this feeling that there is an enthusiasm to make things together and to cooperate. And about these two elements, competition and the cooperation, these are the things I'll be talking in my presentation today. This is only very rough overview where we are, what are we doing. But I would like to only pick up this middle point, as 50% of our trains in express segment are the international trains. And I must say, without having, or maybe differently said, having such a huge network of international connections, you can see on the right side, that would never be possible without the cooperation with our neighbors and neighboring partners. For us, it's very important, because we believe that the cooperation can not only, let's say, stay as it is shown on that picture, it's also, let's say, the tool how we can make the European, let's say, goals together possible. Because honestly, if you are alone, you can, or a single person, you can achieve quite a lot. On the other hand, if you cooperate, you can reach much broader and higher goals we actually all together have. I also mentioned about the element of market opening. From our side, it's very important, because more than 10 years ago, we faced a completely new situation. We, CD, Cesky Drahy, we are the incumbent, but back in 2011, the first open access operator entered the Czech market after several years of preparations. Surprisingly, 1 year later, back in 2012, on the same line, Prague-Ostrava, which is the main corridor actually connecting Prague, the capital, with the northeast part of our republic, entered the same line. And I must say it was a quite crucial time, because everything was new, and the consequences, as you can read here on this slide, were quite significant. The Ministry of Transport completely changed their policy. They said, well, no more PSO on that line, because you can see that there are the private investments, they can operate on their own commercially, so no subsidies for you anymore. That completely changed our environment we had been working in so far. We have also seen, if you have to operate something commercially, and you see the degrees of the tickets prices, which is the standard element of the competition, it's also getting a bit challenging. But what we have also seen, and it was a new for one, that we canceled several services, especially in the early morning time, and on the other hand, quite late in the evening. We completely stopped operation of these trains because they were no more profitable. And surprisingly, that was also the behavior, in this meaning, our competitors do the same. So on this main line, the feature of the operation, that during the peak times, you had every 20 minutes the train running between Prague and Ostrava, but unfortunately after 7 p.m. or 8 a.m., there was no service at all, which in comparison with the rest of the Republic was significantly lower service or quality than we offered on other lines. And another element which is really important in our experience with the competition and market opening, it's a low predictability. Something what really is worth mentioning, because this line, Praha-Ostava, it still remained operated by all 3 operators. But during the time, we have seen the effort to also expand from the side of the private operators. But they, for example, tried to go to another, let's say, corners of our republic. But after 2 years, they changed. They stopped running in this direction, and they tried to operate on the other side. And this is something, especially for the customer perspective, something what is not really, at least from my personal perspective, not a very stable environment for creating the relation between you as an operator and the customer. If I should sum up the effects I've been describing, I would definitely mention 2 important facts. Until 2011, always when in a media there was something linked with railways, it was mostly in a not very positive connotations. It was a black hole, whatever, always delayed, always dirty. That was our image. And despite investments we did, we were not always on the right track. This situation has changed significantly, and it still lasts until today, that rail became, with the market opening, really the public topic, but with much interest also of the politicians and with the positive connotations. I must say, internally, this market opening also was like a shock. I use that word panic here, and it definitely the first months were really very crucial. But the effect then was really to integrate the internet, to make a growth, to think about what can we do, how can we make progress, and how can we motivate ourselves, how can we be better than the competitors. So we decided in the 3 steps. We completely redesigned our onboard services, the services at stations, and of course we deeply jumped into the, let's say, digital era, coming up with new apps and new webs, etc., etc. We also find the new ways how to find the investments, where to find the money, because until that moment we were only, let's say, without the competition, without this competitive environment, we were always like asking our ministry, please give us the money, we would like to have some new investments. And there was always like response, sorry, we don't have the money, we have other priorities, so this is not so easy. So with this competition, we simply try to find the new financial instruments which could help to do on our own. So now we are issuing bonds, etc., and we have managed how to invest into the rolling stock and make our business more efficient and, let's say, productive. And of course, we change, not really significantly, but we somehow change our identity. New paintings, this pure, I mean, it's not yin-yang, well, these are the yin-yang colors, black and white, but we completely changed to these two blue colors, and we completely profile ourselves as a, let's say, blue operator. This is only just example of how, I mean, the upper part, this everything represent CD maybe 10 years ago, back 10 years. There was always a lottery or casino. You never knew which type of train, which type of wagon you will get. And this is something what significantly influenced the entrance of the newcomers, the new open access operators. Because they offered something what is more product-based, and surprisingly, we actually, and this is that very last on the bottom, that picture, this is our express Pendolino train, which was operated already before the entrance of the private funds. This is a RegioJet and this is a Leo Express. But most of the people didn't know that we are the operator of these trains, because it was a real product. We had a very good experience with this product. It worked, people were really very positive on that, but mostly we were like linked with these pictures above. Yeah, maybe we will get a good quality, maybe not. And this is something what definitely the competitors changed in our mind. It was not only about the rolling stock. It's necessary, and we have heard many times yesterday, this morning, that it is about complexity of all the kind of services. This is just a very rough overview of everything you can do, and this is, let's say, the pool of or collection of ideas what we have done, where we changed ourselves. We, for example, started, because some of these our private competitors started really focusing their campaign towards, for example, students. So our reaction was, yes, be more active on YouTube, because YouTube, to use some YouTubers to also communicate with the younger communication, because CD, we were really like recognized as a traditional incumbent, not really attractive. And this was something how we tried to at least influence part of the younger people to get on board of our trains. But of course, you always need to choose priorities. So we actually have these three different types of let's say, services. Our traditional services, some people were very, very, very positive on that. Therefore, we completely changed their design, the way they are served, and we really succeed. We also developed these complementary services. You can see here City Taxi. Now we are trying to develop places in a different way, last mile connections, because this is really getting an issue. Čeré směnárna is, for example, that you know that almost 24/7 you can, at every main railway station at our cash desk, change the money. What for foreigners and also for us going somewhere is because we still do use the Czech currency, Česká koruna. So, I mean, to get the euros, it's quite convenient. And as I already mentioned, this first column, it's about the digitalization. And maybe some of you have seen just a while ago, we were nominated for the apps in these awards. So there's definitely some link between the things we are doing and the direction we are doing. So we didn't win, but we are convinced that only the nomination is the good way, or like a confirmation that we are going in a good direction. But the most positive effect linked to financing is that we were thinking internally, what can we do? How our product could look like. And in that time, there was like a unique occasion to extend the railjet network, which has in that time already been developed in Austria, Switzerland, Germany, Hungary. And we agreed then with EBB, with our partner, with the Austrian Federal Railways, to buy some of these trains and to extend this network to Prague and down the south from Vienna to Graz. And this is the backbone of actually our domestic long-distance trains, which is simply connected to Austrian domestic trains. And how this cooperation works is somehow summarized in these few points. The big advantage for passenger is they simply know, because Railjet was already at home in Hungary, in these countries, the first four. So they set the standard quite high, and everybody in these countries knows what does it mean to take a Railjet. And we simply add in one country and the same quality to another country. And in the meantime, this Railjet network has grown also to Slovakia. They have only one pair, but there's a big potential after the infrastructure development. They will get the regular services from Bratislava, and we know there is also some connections to Italy. So we simply use the family of the trains, which were really highly ranked by the passengers, and we extended this work because of the willingness of EBB. And now we have a brand new standard, and we can somehow continue because the passengers know it. The EBP and the other partners also from the technical, from the railway operator side, this is very important. You know that rolling stock, so you can take the whole care of that. And you are familiar with this kind of rolling stock, because the nightmare for operators is that something what is completely foreigner, you don't know what is it about, come on your track, and you have to operate such a trains. This is the nightmare. So this was I would say the most clever decision, to take something what was already in the market and use it and extend it on the basis of the cooperation, this model, this network across Central Europe. And the way that we have succeeded was very, this is the confirmation that it is the right way, because we have very similar project from Prague to Hamburg, let's say very basically. These trains based on Viaggio Comfort train sets, or maybe let's say Railjet, coming from this Railjet family, is going to be extended from 2024 northward from Prague and southward to Budapest and Bratislava. And we believe this is how we can get more passengers on board of our trains across whole Central Europe, because we can offer the common, well-understandable standard. To sum up, because I can see that I'm running out of my time slot. So go international, this is one of the advices I can give you, because of course there are some challenges, but on the other hand, it makes this experience with the negotiation, with the trust of your partners, bring you a robust solution which you can then really place in the market. This middle part is something that I have to completely highlight. We are getting slightly victims of our success, because if you have a good quality of infrastructure, there is a really high demand from the railway operators to operate on the main lines. And we would like to grow. Unfortunately, there is not sufficient capacity. Our solution in Central Europe is that we integrated the domestic services with the international ones, and thus we can provide a service, let's say, from Hamburg down to Vienna, and we can with this management, because the train then serves the international passengers and the domestic ones in Germany, in the Czech Republic, and also in Austria. And we can save some capacity for freight, because to get the load from freight from roads to track, this is one of the ambitions. And we believe this solution, how to integrate domestic and international trains, can be a good solution until the moment that there is a new capacity available. And this is the moment I'm going to stop my presentation, because there should be another speakers. Many thanks for your attention.